All right, good morning. Excuse me. I took a sip of something and it went down the wrong tube, the wrong pipe, the wrong tube, the wrong pipe. It went down the wrong pipe. But here we are, Sunday, June 1st. Welcome to the stream. My name is Angela. If you're new here, I'm a front-end developer. I've been a front-end developer and a software engineer for 12 years. In fact, today is my 12-year anniversary of the day that I left corporate America and became an engineer. And I'm here to tell you, I can never go back. I know too much. It's the point of no return. So on this channel, we do front-end development, HTML, CSS. I generally write my CSS using Sass, not always, but most of the time, and vanilla JavaScript. I think I've used a framework one time, no libraries, I think I used one library, but no frameworks. I know Vue and Angular, but I really don't use them in my everyday practice. Angular, sometimes I actually really like Angular, but this channel is really about getting back to basics. That's what we do here, and we practice. The whole point of these streams is that we practice, because even after 12 years, I need to practice. And that's what we're going to do today. We're actually going to do some QA testing. Today is what is today? Today is the 23rd day, part 23. One moment here. Today is part 23 of a project that we started several months ago. It's called The Ocean. And this is a mock-up I've had in my collection for probably, I think 9 years, 8 or 9 years. And my plan for these streams is to practice just by building these mock-ups. HTML, CSS, static websites, vanilla JavaScript, practicing building UIs, building our layouts. We're done with this as of yesterday. We finished the last 3 layouts yesterday. And what I want to do today is QA testing. So we're going to take a top to bottom approach, go through each of the pages, and we're going to make notes of things like padding or a weird border or weird spacing or inconsistent spacing or something that just isn't working quite right. And then we're going to go ahead and fix those things. Yesterday, while I was building the last 3 pages, I was making notes at the same time. So this is sort of our beginning list of things that we need to work on, starting with the navigation of our site. Also, this is the mock-up. So this is the mock-up that I used to build all of these pages, if you're new here. Also, if you're new here and you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and do so. If you like front-end development, if you like lifestyle content related to work from home, front-end development, freelancing, contracting, that type of thing. I also have videos coming on freelancing. I've spent years freelancing. Even when I had a job, I was still doing projects on the side. So I have a lot of information to share related to freelancing. Go ahead and subscribe, like the video. Let's push this out to as many new front-end developers, people who are passionate about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript as we can. And let's build a little community here. Okay, so starting with, let's just go through this list. These are sort of my notes from yesterday. The navigation needs a "you are here" link, underline. Let's see here. I don't think we need to have that up. We need like a "you are here" link underline, and that's something that we need to do with JavaScript. So we just need to make sure that when whatever page we're on, we add an active class to the link, and then we can style the active class with an underline, and that's "you are here" navigation. So we're going to modify we're going to just write a little for each loop to take care of that. Weird top border inside the blog author box. Should we just start knocking some of these out? Yeah, let's do it. I'm going to save the "you are here" navigation I think for last, because I haven't seen anything else JavaScript related. Oh, one second here. Okay, so weird border inside the author box. I don't even know if you can see it here. The other thing we need to do, which I didn't get ready ahead of time. Shoot. Maybe it doesn't matter. It kind of matters. I didn't get my phone ready to share. Let me, you know what? I'm going to do it right now. Hang on, because that actually is important, isn't it? I need a cord. Which cord? Let's see here. No, that's not the right cord. I need a cord. Okay, this will work. I think this is a good cord. Let's see, because we really need to check this on iOS, and I haven't. I mean, I kind of glanced at it in the last couple of weeks. And I noticed some things, but we really haven't been checking iOS. Let's see here. This is not that. All right, here we go. Let's see. Let's see if we can get this to work. I'm sorry, we should have done this. I should have taken care of this before I started. There we go. Other device. Okay, good. And let me move this over there. Okay, now we're cooking. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about this right now, but we did need to get this hooked up, so that's good. And we're going to go ahead and go back over. Let's go back over here. Not now. Okay. Good. So here, let's just start knocking out some of these little weird things. So I don't know what this border is right here. Where is that coming from? Let's see here. Author box. So this sort of implies, oh, is it this? No. Let's do, oh, it's this right here. Is that, yeah, that's what that is. Okay, I bet that's, how much you want to bet that is, I don't, yeah, I can see it right there. Okay. I am not sure why I put that border there. but we found it. So blog comments, it's on blog SCSS line 138. So I'm not going to delete this style. I'm going to comment it out because we may, as we're checking, we may find the reason why we put that in. So not going to worry about it. I'm just going to take it out. Okay, good. Number 1, done. So this is how I do QA. Let's put this in its own little window over here. No, that's too squishy. Okay. So I'm just going to say done. Spacing above the date in the related posts sections. So that is this right here. We just need to add a little bit of margin to, I'm going to add a little bit of margin to this figure right here. So this is the related post image. This is also on blog.scss line 132. That's not right. I don't think that's right. Oh, maybe it is. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay, so I'm going to do 0, 0, 1 rem. So 0 on top, 0 on the left and right, and 1 rem on the bottom. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. That is done. Consider more CSS refactoring and make an SCSS partial for typography and headings. So we're going to start a new category. This is a markdown file. So let's do a new heading, and I'm going to call this technical debt. Things that I know that I need to do eventually. They are not critical for launching the site or calling the site done. They're future things to make the site better, but not critical, basically. So, okay. Update all date divs to the time element. This is a good one. So I think we already did it on the blog page. Let's see if we can do some find and replace. Yeah, we already did it here. We also really need to add date time to any place with a date. So we know that the home page has, we're on the blog page. Let's go back to the home page. We know that the home page has a ton of dates. So let's just do this on a page by page basis. But this is really important. So we're giving everything that semantic value. We want screen readers. My coffee is so full, I'm afraid to even pick up the glass. We want screen readers to know what that time element is and to read that out correctly. We want the date time attribute on the time element. That's also for screen readers, and it's also good for search engine optimization. And it's just semantic and the right way to do things. And I wasn't thinking clearly when I originally built this home page. So this is the blog. Oh, is it? Wait a second. No, this is the home page. Okay. So here's our header. Here is the hero. I don't think we have no, we don't have dates in the hero. So here's the main wrap. Here's the blog layout. Here's the category, the heading, the time. So I did this for the first one. And here, this is what we need to do. So let's copy and paste this. And then I'm going to look in the dev tools and make sure we didn't miss anything. Okay, this one is the full width image only, doesn't have a date. And then here we go. And I think we can probably open these back up. All right, let's check our home page. That's a little bigger. Okay, that works. Also works. This may sound tedious, but I prefer to think of it as thorough. Because it is. And I will always invest the time to do it right the first time. Or I guess in this case, during QA. Okay, and then I don't think we have any dates here on anything. Okay, so that was the home page. Let's look at our masonry page. This masonry page also has dates. So let's close that. And we'll go through. Here's our featured. I don't think the featured has a date. Nope. And then here is our blog date. I think we still have this. There we go. Date, time. Date, time. Beautiful. All right. What's next? Blog slider. I think there's only one date on the blog slider. There might be, nope, we've got dates on related posts and we've got dates on the comments. Blog slider. Right here. So that's the article. Here's the author box. Here's the related posts. And then, oh, you know what? Do those have the correct blog date? Yes, I thought maybe they had a different class name. Whew. Wouldn't be the first time I did that. So here's comments. And then here's comment date. I think this is right around when I realized, yeah, this is right around when I realized I had overlooked that. And here's the form, here's the sidebar. Okay. So let's check the slider, the blog slider page. time. All right, perfect. All right, what's next? Blog, and I think it's going to be pretty much the same on this page. Right there. Nope, that's the wrong one though, isn't it? That's from the comments. So let me grab the correct one. So that's our main article. There's the author box. Here's the related posts. And then here's our comments. And yes, these are already good. Okay, good. You know what I've been meaning to do, because it's really annoying, is, okay, VS Code, how to collapse all. Fold all, Control K, Control O, folds all regions in the editor. Unfold all, Control K, Control J. Okay, let's try this. Control K, Control O. Control K, Control O. I don't think that did anything. Control or Command? Control K, Control, is that O or 0? Command, it is Command. Command K, Command 0, not O. Command K, 0. Something happened. Fold all. Oh, beautiful. Fold all. Really what I want is unfold. Unfold all. That's what I want. Unfold all. That's what this is. Command K, Command 0. Unfold all. Because I go through so often and I fold things as I'm looking, and then I want to unfold everything at once. Love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. What's next? This was the blog page. Now we want the full width page. And yes, this is on the list to fix. So here's the date. I don't think there are any other dates here. Oh yeah, in the comments there are. So this is full width. So here we've got some folded stuff. Let's just test it. Unfold. I am perfectly happy to Shift Command P to do that, so I don't have to remember. All right. Okay, so we've got time here. Oh, but we don't have our shit. Were we putting date attributes? Were we putting date? Do we have enough information where we can check? I don't know if I had a date attribute on everything. Gosh darn it. Let's just search. We need to search everything, not just this though. Listen, why are you only searching this file? Okay, let's just look for anything that's time. There's a date time. There's a date time. Date time. Date time. Date time. Date time. Date time. Okay. Yes. 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 No. Okay, so this needs a date time. Yes, that has a date time. That has a date time. So let's add it here. So what's the format? The format is year, month, date. 2025 01 11. Date time, date time. Yes. 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 Yup. Okay. Yes. 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 Okay, good. Okay, good. So where was I? This is the, okay, so let's close some of these. Full width, we're on full width. So let's close home, masonry, blog, blog slider. Listen, it's messy sometimes. It's messy. All right. So I think we've gotten everything on the full width. Let's double check. Nope. Okay, so we need to get our related posts. But I think we're good on comments. Okay. There's our comments. Here's our related posts. Nope. Okay. Okay, good. Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, so that was full width. Next we have about and contact, and I don't think these have a date. Yeah, good. We can check that off the list. Done. Okay, so next we have fix awkward spacing after the title on the full width layout. So I think, you know what, let's just fix this button because this is pretty annoying. Let's just fix the button first. I need to zoom out a little bit here. So I think what happened is I was reusing full width page blog category. So these are supposed to be flex, display flex. So full width meta, where is my display flex? Full width page meta, full width page. So I think we just have the wrong class here. Full width meta. There we go. So I think I decided I was okay with how this looks on. I was okay with how this looks on desktop. I felt like this was a little bit awkward. Part of the problem is this border. And I put the border in because it's in the mock-up. But I don't like it. I could just not have any padding here. I don't like the border. I'm going to take the border out because I don't like it. I think I've done a really good job honoring this mock-up and doing everything that the mock-up says to do. but I don't like that border. If you're a developer and you're working in an agency or organization and you're handed mock-ups from your designer, you are most likely not going to have the luxury of deciding what stays and what goes. I fully acknowledge that. That is not this situation, though, is it? No, it's not. So I'm taking that out. So we want the full width. Here's our hero. And this is the border. So I'm going to take out the CSS for this border. And we're going to tighten up that spacing. Because here's the other thing. These mockups don't have any indication of what anything is supposed to look like on mobile. And that is totally fine. I actually think that that is very rare. It's unusual for me, or I guess it's just been my experience, that unless a designer is trying to communicate something very specific about how they want mobile to look, most of the time I just get the desktop version, and then it's left up to me to decide how things look on mobile. So, I mean, I guess we could just remove the border for mobile, but I don't like the border even on desktop is the problem. So I'm just going to take it out. And what makes it a little weird here is that I am absolutely positioning this title. The reason I did that is because I want the H1 to come before the image. Even though we see the image come first and the title comes second, because it's an H1, even if it was an H2, I would make the same decision. You may make a different decision. This is the decision I made. But because I am absolutely positioning the title over top of the image, there's just some weird DOM and alignment things happening, and I'm having trouble controlling that border. So my solution is just screw it. We don't need the border. And I already think this looks better. I already like this better. So now let's tighten this up. This is my approach. This is how I do things. And listen, if you are a developer in an agency and don't have the luxury of making decisions like this, that doesn't mean that you can't go to the designer and say, hey, can we talk about how this is supposed to look? If you're having trouble getting it to look, just right on mobile, say, hey, is this what you envisioned? What do you think of this? Should we do this another way? Okay, and I'm already noticing, do you see here on our mobile version of the header, there's a little extra space here. So let's just add that to the list since we're noticing it. Too much space in the mobile header on the bottom. And trust me, this part of the process is so important. I have been in some incredibly demoralizing, soul-sucking QA experiences at agencies where I pour my heart and my soul into a fresh build, and then it gets turned over to a colleague to do QA, and 24 to 48 hours, I just get pages and pages and pages of feedback. And I always thought, and it wasn't that they didn't point out things that were legitimate. And that, by the way, that's normal. You absolutely need your colleagues. You need a second set of eyes, or you need to step away and come back and with a fresh set of eyes, look for things that you missed. That is just completely normal. But it would be pages and pages and pages of things that I need to change or fix. And some of it was legitimate. A lot of it, though, was just that developer's personal preference about how they think you should have written the CSS, or how they think you should have structured the HTML. And I'm not here to like say that one, that it's right or wrong or complain about former colleagues. I'm just saying it's an experience that I had, and it taught me that QA is incredibly important, to just step away and then come back and spend one day going over your site, making notes, noticing things, tightening things up. Then if you still get that pages and pages and pages of feedback, you don't have to do everything just because somebody else on the team told you to do it. Push back. Ask for a rationale. Provide a rationale about why you made a certain decision. Just because you have a policy on your team that you are all QAing one another's work, that doesn't mean that you are required to implement everything that that person asked you to do. So, just my 2 cents. Okay. So we have margin here to push down some space because this H1 is absolutely positioned. I think that we can take out that padding for mobile. And then here's this section. What am I looking for here? And I think we can tighten up this margin. Maybe we don't need any. Oops. I don't think we need any margin there. So the main wrap, toolkit 126. So this is a global style right here. If I put it in the toolkit CSS file, so we're going to do a style specific to the main wrap on the full width page. Oh, and we do have some specific styles here. So we're just going to add a new media query. And it's just going to be padding 0. And then the blog layout. Blog content, full width page blog content, line 90. Oh, we're going to add a media query here too. And it's just going to be margin 0. I think it needs maybe a little more margin. A little more margin. Maybe just a half a rem. Yeah, that looks a little better. That looks a little better. And I'm also wondering if our heading is a little too small. I really loaded up the text there. So our clamp is on the low end 1. I think it should be a little bit bigger. Yeah, it's also, I think what we need, even though we have a clamp for the padding, but I think we need 0 padding on the bottom of that, absolutely positioned. So in addition to this clamp for the padding, I'm also going to do a padding bottom 0. Does that even matter? Yeah, it does. So this is, they're probably, oh, this is another H1 for our kitchen sink. I don't even think that this is likely to happen. I think that's what's throwing me off. So let's just delete that, because I don't even think that if the H1 is the title of the page, I don't even think that needs to be there. And this was, I think, just the primary. Yes. So I'm going to change this to 1.1 rems on the low end of the clamp. And then we're just going to add a padding bottom 0. And Robert Kaluza is here, new subscriber here. Welcome and thank you. So cool to watch how you think and approach problems. When you make design decisions like removing that border top, is that based off a gut feeling? Yeah, I mean, for the most part, that's a one way to put it. I think of it as like just trusting my eyes. That's how I think of it. Trust your eyes. Does it look weird? Does it look uncomfortable? Does something just not look right? That's literally how I think of it. I rely on my eye and just my own eyeball for whether or not something looks right. I will say that I'm not a designer, but the design expertise that I've picked up over the years is that you tend to need more space on the bottom of something instead of the top of something. The eye, if something has an equal amount of, we'll just say, padding on the top and the bottom, you will most likely think that the bottom has less padding, because that's just how our eyes process information. I was actually taught that in a photography class 20 years ago, and I think it's true. So I tend to add a little extra padding or margin to the bottom of something, and then my eye thinks it looks equal. The border thing, yeah, if you were in an agency or an organization, and some are very, very strict and some are pretty loosey-goosey. Most of the agencies that I've worked in where they had dedicated on-staff designers, if they were handing you, in fact, I had one agency tell me once that they expected that the web page could be laid over top of the mock-up and it should match exactly pixel per pixel. And I think that that is an absurd mindset, and it defeats the purpose of responsive, flexible web design. It's not the right way to approach things, but my goodness, you will have a tough time convincing an agency or a creative director or a designer of that in some situations. Maybe it's gotten better. For me, that was like a decade ago that happened. So my very long-winded answer is I'm just trusting my eyeballs. I'm just trusting my gut feeling. The way I articulate it is that I see something and it makes me uncomfortable. Like it just doesn't look right. So you got to play with it a little bit. I think a good rule of thumb is that your eyes will think it looks evenly spaced if you have a little more space on the bottom than you do on the top. And again, that's just something that I learned from, of all things, a photography class that I took like 20 years ago. That's what we were taught, and I think it holds true. So, yeah, you have to kind of play it by ear. In situations like this, where I'm the chief cook and bottle washer of everything that I do, I make design decisions based on what looks good to me. And I think that I have been very true to this mock-up. I've really honored the integrity of the layout, the spacing, the typography, everything. So if something looks a little weird or doesn't quite work, I take it out, I change it, I modify it, I make a decision. So I hope that answers the question. I hope that answers the question. All right, let's get back to it. And thank you for the thoughtful question. I really appreciate that. And welcome, if I haven't already said that. We are happy. I am happy to have you here. So this is looking a little tighter to me. I like how this looks. And we'll actually check that on mobile. We'll go ahead and push that to Git. Okay, what is next? So fix awkward spacing after title on full width layout. Done. Done, done, done. Okay, yeah, I remember this. Need to adjust spacing flexbox for blog, meta, comment, count, tags, and social icons. So here's what that is. First, let's look at the home page. So we can look at a good example of why I styled it the way I did. So here's that little section on the home page right here. So what I did is, and it's in a container called blog links, and there are 4 elements here. There's the blog comment count. There's an empty div with a class of blog double border. Then there's the blog tagged items, and this is navigation with a list of links. So these would presumably be things that other, like for taxonomy and structure. And then there's a nav element with social media icons. And all I did was flexbox this and do justify content space between, which evenly spaced everything out. So on this narrower screen where we have a main content area and a sidebar, this looks pretty good. This evenly spaces everything out, and you can kind of see it there in the browser. However, when we did the full width, which is essentially, no, not the full, wait a second, the full width, which is essentially the same layout. Oh, maybe this looks okay. The same layout, it's just the full width. I felt like the space between might be a little too roomy. And I was thinking right here in between the comments and the tagged. I don't know. Does this matter? Because here's what's going to happen. The more tags that we have, the more it's going to, let's just add some more tags. I don't know if this is something I should spend really any time on, because it's not broken. It's not a bug. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do. So let's just add some more tags in there and see how the spacing changes. So blog tagged items, and this is on the full width. And Robert is saying that it does answer his questions. So good. All right, this is the full width. So tags, where are we? Right here. So let's just add some more tags and see how. So Flexbox keeps this really flexible, right? Yeah, we don't need to change this. See, look how this spacing has changed now just by adding more tags. So I don't think we need to change this at all, because Flexbox is doing so much of the work, so much of the heavy lifting for us. Let's add a bunch more tags and just see what happens. Like, also, I don't think we should be adding this many tags to our posts. If you're adding this many tags to your posts, you probably need to go back to the drawing board on your content strategy. Ooh, okay, this is actually a good little experiment here. Hang on. Okay, so here's what we need to do. We need to put a maximum, we do need to put a maximum width on this, don't we? So let's take 3 out. That's still too many. Let's take 3 more out. Still too many. Let's take 3 more out. Yeah, so we would not want this to be longer than, so what's that, 600 pixels? So we could maybe say max width. I mean, how many characters do we think that is? 40? 40 CH? $80? Let's do this. How many characters are in the following? If I'm setting a max width and using CH, does it include the spaces and commas too? Great question. Yes, when you're using CH units for max width, it does include all characters, including letters, spaces, and punctuation like commas. The CH unit is based on the width of the 0 character in the current font. So it's not counting characters per se, but it approximates how many characters will fit in a line when using monospaced or average width font. Now let's count the characters in your string. That's 7 characters, 22 characters. That group repeats 4 times, so there are 95 characters. So you'd set max width 95 to fit this exactly, assuming you want one line with no wrapping and are using a font where this measurement works cleanly. Okay, got it. I feel like I have another question here, but it escapes me. I thought of a question and I immediately forgot it. So it's not counting characters per se, but it approximates how many characters will fit in a line when using, got it. What's the maximum character count for readability and accessibility generally? For readability and accessibility, the ideal length for body text is 45 to 75 characters per line. Jacob Nielsen and WebAIM both suggest this range. Around 66 characters is often cited as a sweet spot for desktop. Got it. Yeah, let's do 65. So we don't have this long list of tags. So where are we here? We should probably do it for all of our tags. Where do I have this styled? Blog tagged items. Looks like it's in blog layout. Okay. So this, so I have, here's all the Flexbox styles, but here's a separate style just for blog tagged items. Okay, so we're gonna do a max width of 65 CH characters, because if you've ever built anything for content creators, you know that you can never, I repeat, never imagine every possible scenario of how the things you build are going to be used. People do crazy things with content that you never intended. So having these types of limits is really good. So let's see. Now let's add a whole bunch of display inline block. Now let's add more and see how it handles it. So let's just say we double these, which don't do that. Do not put this many. If you're putting this many tags on your related posts, it's not going to work the way you think it is. So this is still too wide. So I'm going to change it to 40. Yeah, I'm going to change it to 40. And I changed this to display inline block. And Go, Elmo, Go is here. He has pneumonia. Elmo, I'm so sorry. Thank you for tuning in and listening. I hope that we can bring you a little bit of comfort. I'll try to be more soothing. I'll try to be more soothing for you. Okay? But thank you for tuning in and joining us, and I hope you feel better soon. Pneumonia is the pits, man. I've had pneumonia. I've had bronchitis. It's rough. It's rough, my friend. Be well. So I'm going to change this to 40 so we get the correct amount of wrapping. But what happens when the screen gets smaller? Okay, so we have good mobile styles. Look at that. We have great mobile styles. So we are still well supported up until this point. So we're going to go with max width 40 characters so we don't break our layout. Now let's see how that looks on our home page where it's not a full width layout. I'm really, really glad that we noticed this and looked at this. Really glad. All right, there's our hero. Here's our tags. Again, do not try this at home. Oh, I didn't actually change it in my CSS. Hang on. Where are we here? There we go. Okay, now let's go back to our home. Yeah, we're going to have to, for this layout, so Well, maybe we have to make it. So that holds up. If we change it to 25, how does that look for our full width layout? Which we can do a set of unique styles for the full width layout. That's nice, but that's fine. But wouldn't it be nice if this just worked too? Okay, let's do a separate set of styles for the full width layout. So we can do that right here. So I'm going to do 25 characters for the normal column layout. And for this, we're going to do 40. So we've got blog links, full width page. Blog tagged items, blog layout. I'm going to do full width page instead. It's going to be full width page, and then this will be 40. Oh, not chained together. Okay, that looks better. And that looks better. And I don't mind if tagged is wrapping. That's fine with me. That holds up. And it can wrap as many times as it needs to wrap. Let the wacky content creators do whatever they want, because I feel like this holds up now. And the container is totally flexible. It will just grow in height. We are fully supported for mobile. Let's look at this now on a mobile size. Yeah, that looks fine. It's drifting a little bit to the right because it's not breaking the word. Display inline block. So if we change, I wonder if we should change this to display flex. Is there like some spacing here that I'm not aware of? I kind of think that we should change this to so this is display inline block. So if we okay, so that's display inline block. Is this supposed to be? I feel like this is supposed to be display inline block. And I got main 104. Hang on. What's going on here? Okay. Blog tagged items. Yeah, the UL, I think the UL should be. Yeah, this isn't doing anything because it's so we have nav blog links. Here's nav tags. Oh, here we go. Nav tags UL. And then the LIs are display inline blocks. I'm going to change this. And display flex, flex, flow, whoops, flex, flow, row, wrap, justify content is going to be flex start, and align items is also going to be flex start. No takeoff margin, padding, and the bullets, which are all browser defaults. And then we don't need this for the LIs. I think we can just take this off. And then this, I don't know why I put that there. I don't know what was going on that day. Let's see how this looks. Oh, we do want to, okay. Okay. It's not the text align center, right? Could that be shifting the text over? Oh, I don't think it was text. Oh, text align center. So, okay, so that's a really good point. It's aligning it in the, yeah, I'm not, the short answer is I'm not sure. There's something a little bit weird going on here. So, we're going to make some adjustments. We're going to make some adjustments. It could be. It could be. So this is already looking better and more even. Although, do you see here, like on this side? I think it's because this is display inline block. That's what I think. So we've got the max width of 40 characters, a width of 100%. That's okay right there. I think it's this right here. It's width 100% and max width 40 characters. It's two different things. So I think for this, I actually think this should be max width 100%, and then width should be 40 characters. Just like that. Do you see now how it's evened out? So let's go back and find that. 134 right here. So this should be max width 100% with 40 characters. So we're saying make it 40 characters wide, but the maximum width should be 100%, which means that if the window is smaller than 40 characters, don't make it 40 characters. So I think this is what we need here. I think that will take care of it. And you see here how now this width 100% for mobile. So next thing we need to do now is we just need to give these are all lining up. So we just need to give these a little, well, we could probably, there's our blog links. Where did we just, right here. We could probably, instead of flex start, whoops, we could space evenly. Oh, no, I don't like that. Space around. I don't like that either. That's okay. We're going to do flex start. We need to make it look like text, which is why I did inline block, because inline block is the best of both worlds, and it still naturally puts the space in between the words. Flexbox is removing that space, but that's okay. So now let's just do a slight, the teeny tiniest gap. We'll do 0.25 rems, and that'll maybe hopefully there. That just puts a little natural space in between. We could do justify content center, although I think we're only going to want to do that for mobile. There, how does that look? That still is shifting it over. Look at that. That's still shifting it over. Do you see that? Is it the center that's doing that? Yeah, it's the, oh, is this still shifted over though? No, it's still within this container. What's the space? Okay. I think it's this. That's what it is. In putting it in the column and doing center. There, now we have it over up against that edge. So I think this is what it is. It's the alignment main 93. So first of all, you don't need to realign something for mobile. I don't know why I did that. I'm going to take out text align center and I'm going to put in flex start here because I think the column is getting centered. Oh, maybe I do want the text align. So now my column, that looks even to me. And then this for mobile, we're going to justify content. That's it. Right there. Now we're even. Can you see it? I can see it. It's so subtle, but it's okay to trust your eye. It is okay to trust your eye. You need your eyeballs. You need your eyeballs. Now can you see that we have an even amount of space on the left and the right? So it was this right here. We're on mobile. We changed the flex flow from row to column. Align items was center for mobile. You see right here, I'm hovering over flex start and you can even see it's kind of tiny, but there's an arrow pointing to the left saying flex start right there. So if we change this in the browser to center, that immediately shifts it over. Could you see it there? So we want that flex start. It's tricky. It's so subtle. It's so subtle. It's so tricky. There. And I can tell that this is a little off too, right here. That is also a little off. So first of all, why does this have so much padding? It's a div, so it's block level. Maybe because of this margin all the way around. There we go. That fixed it. So the div just wasn't centered. There we go. So let's fix that too. So this is in our, I don't think variables, it's not correct. That's the wrong style sheet. Let's find this. So for mobile, we're going to do 0.5 rems and auto is what centers a div. A value plus auto. There, now it looks even. Right there. So here's the container. Now everything is nicely aligned. Do we need to add a gap in between? Let's see how that would look. So gap, 1 rem. What do we think? Yeah, let's add a gap. I'm just now in the last couple of weeks wrapping my head around using gap. It finally makes sense to me. It finally makes sense to me. So let's add this, main 93. Which is this right here. Takes a lot of practice, man. 12 years I've been doing this. I'm still like refining how I work, refining how I see things. Yeah, this looks great now. This looks fantastic. So, like, let's recap what we did here. This is pretty big. We noticed that the alignment was off. Well, first of all, we added more tags, right? Because clearly we weren't supporting having more tags here. So we added more tags. We refined the maximum width allowed for both a full width layout and a column layout with a sidebar. Let's make sure that this looks okay now too. We noticed that the spacing was off. We not only support a larger number of tags, but we do it without breaking the layout, and it looks good on mobile and desktop. And on mobile, I think if you had noticed that something wasn't quite right, but you were really busy, you were under the gun, there was a lot of pressure to finish your project, somebody's breathing down your neck saying, when are you going to be done? When are you going to be done? When are you going to be done? Ask me how I know what that feels like. It would be really easy and nobody would fault you for skipping what I just did. But if you've got time and you're a little bit curious and you want to figure out why it doesn't look the way you think it should look, just take a deep breath and dig into it. Figure it out. See, play with it. So I'm very happy with this. Very happy with this. Okay. So what was that on the list? This is done. Okay. Oh, I think this is the same thing. Mobile spacing for header needs to be tightened up. So I think that's this right here. So we'll work on that next. Okay, 1 second. And by the way, if you're new here and you haven't done so already, would you please hit the like button? I set a goal to get to 1,000 subscribers by September 1st. I think that's totally doable. It'll be my 1 year of streaming in about mid-August this summer. My name is Angela. I'm a front-end developer and software engineer in St. Paul, Minnesota. And on this channel, we practice HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We really don't use libraries or frameworks. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but we're just all about getting back to basics and learning core foundational concepts. And I think that this could be a great resource for a lot of people. I welcome questions and comments in the chat. I'm here to answer questions if I know the answer. And if I don't know the answer, I'll help you figure it out. So here we are. All right, let's get back to it. Okay. Mobile spacing for header needs to be tightened up. So that is this right here. We just have a little bit of too much space in here. So God help us if we don't figure it out. So I think what's going on, I think part of the problem, if we hover here, is that there's something happening over here with our buttons. We got a little too much space. We have a little too much space under our search icon and our menu icon right here. So how much you want to bet that if we figure that out, it'll kind of correct itself? But who knows? Who knows? I don't know. Oh yeah, look at that. So we've got margin here. Where's that margin coming from? Oh, I know what that's coming from, because we did button styles last weekend. So we just need to make sure that these buttons don't have margin on. well, at all, really. So this is in, well, we need to look for button icon. Let's see here. Button icon right here. Okay. So I think we just want to say margin 0. That fix it? So it definitely fixed it. I think we still have a little too much space on the bottom. What's happening with our logo? Okay. So here's what's oh, we do have display block. So why do we have that extra space there? So do you see what's happening here? There is no space. So the largest letter is the O. The bottommost letter is the A and the N. So really there's no additional space on the top or the bottom of this SVG. But you see here, it's wrapped in a link. And anchor elements by default are inline elements. So I defined this one as a block level element in the CSS, but we're still getting a little bit of extra space underneath the logo, and that's making it look uneven. Same, it could just, oh, it might be the line height right here. Could be the line height. No? That was it. So we just need to change the line height to 0. You see there where it removed that space? So, header primary logo, probably we can just change this to 0 because that fixed it. So header line 72. So now no additional space, no additional space, no additional space, no additional space there either. And then our buttons are aligned evenly for the most part. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Just removing that little extra space on the bottom made it look okay. Okay. Done. Check, let's see here. Check the border styles on the category, not specific enough. I think we already fixed this. So this does not have a border around the category. Neither do these. I wonder if this is supposed to be uppercase or lowercase. It's supposed to be uppercase. Right there. They're supposed to be uppercase and a little bit blue. So we'll fix that next. So that was it's supposed to look like this. So we'll fix that. I bet that's just a class that got missed. So here's the blog. Here's the full width. It was this right here, border, and we already took care of that. This is still not quite right, is it? Ugh, we need to revisit that spacing. It's just not working. Okay, so this is done. We already took care of that. That's done. This is more of a technical debt task. Rethink the CSS structure strategy. I'm going to put that here. Layout styles are templates, not pages like about or contact. This is a strategy. Okay, let's go back to masonry and blog category food and drink. Yeah, this is pretty sure this is just a class that got missed. Let's see. Blog category. Okay, I think we need to add blog category to our masonry. Let's go find those. I think this is left over from our... Yeah, I think this is left over from when we refactored. We just missed a couple of things. So we've got blog category comes before blog date. So we'll stick it right here. And we'll update this to masonry. There we go. Boom, fixed. Nice. All right. Let's check that off the list. Oh, it wasn't on the list. We'll add it. Fix styles for the blog category on masonry pages. Masonry page. Done. Okay, update the page title and descriptions. So let's close our CSS files. So let's start with, let's just go top to bottom through our little tree here. So this is the about page. So here's our title, about. HTML and SCSS blog website. So really this is, well, let's decide what our kind of core title is going to be. This is the ocean. The ocean, what do we want to call it? Let's look at our GitHub README. The Ocean Static HTML blog website. Love it. That's our title. By yours truly. So this is going to be the structure for our titles. And then we probably want to do a description. Is that a meta? Meta description. Let's ask ChatGPT for a little help. I'm refining the title, tags, and descriptions for a project called, it's a mock-up that I built and is open source for anyone to use. Can you give me a good basic description? Okay. The Ocean Static HTML blog website is an open source template designed for clean, accessible blogging. Built with a semantic HTML and modern CSS, it's a perfect starting point for personal blogs, developer portfolios, or writing-focused sites. Easy to customize and ready to deploy. No frameworks, no fuss. I love it. So this is going to be our description for every page. So normally you would write much different descriptions for every single page. I'm not going to do that here because the whole point is to describe the project, not really trying to get SEO ranking for this project. So I just want to define a structure. That's all I'm doing here. So I love this. All right. So here's our about page. Here's our blog page. Make sure that everything's undone. And then this is the blog. Here's the blog with a slider. Here's our contact page. So this would be, I'm going to say this is the full width or blog, no sidebar. And then this is the home page. So for this, you generally don't need to name the home page. We're just going to go with this. And then here is our masonry page. I'm just going to call it masonry. And then these are images. This is our CSS. These are SVGs. We have a git ignore. We have an index.php because we need this in order to deploy this to Heroku. Here's our license. Here is our QA document. We'll take that out when we're done. Here's our README. These are the compiled styles. Here's a to-do list. Get our fonts from Google, done. Ask ChatGPT about making a simple Flexbox SCSS Mixed in grid, done. Maybe decide on some colors. Make an SVG signature for the logo. I actually did that today. Make a GitHub repo, done. Okay, so we're going to delete this. We don't need this anymore. So delete. Let's close some of these. Okay. Was there something I just said I was going to do? So this is done. I can't remember. I did make an SVG signature though today. So let's go ahead and add that. Whatever it was, I'm sure it'll come to me. So here's where we want our signature. We want it right here in this little about section of the sidebar, and then in this little about section, we're going to put it here. And this is in the mockup. So here's, you can see here that there's text that looks like a signature, and you can see here on the about page. So I just went ahead and made an SVG. Here's the code right here. And let's put it on the about page first, and I'm sure we'll have to style it a little bit because it's pretty big. So here is our text. Now we have this 2-column layout for our text. So I'm going to put it outside of the 2-column layout. And we'll just go ahead and do div. We'll give this a class of signature. Here. And then I'm going to say aria hidden true, so it doesn't get read out to screen readers. And then I'm going to do a span with a class of access hidden. Whoops. And I'll just put my name because that's what it is. So this will be the signature SVG. And if we go look at this, oh, it's really tiny. Not what I was expecting. That's okay. That's fine. Why is it so small? Oh, that's why. Because it's using these blog layout SVG styles. Got it. Okay. So let's go to our, just going to go to the page Sass file. So this is the 2 columns. I'm going to put it right here. So we're going to do signature. This is page. And I'm going to say SVG display block. We'll give it a width of 200 pixels, height, auto, and I'll just do margin 0, auto. I don't know. We'll see how it looks. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. And then let's make sure that this is max width 100% in the extremely unlikely event that the browser window is smaller than 200 pixels. There. So technically it does shrink if it gets down that small. Yeah, that looks fine. Okay, let's add that now to the sidebar. We have a couple of sidebars we have to add that to. So we have sidebars on, well, so we're gonna have to add this then. That's fine. Yeah, it's fine. We can, maybe the better approach is to not style this specific to a page and to do something like SVG signature for the container, and then these styles could go in our toolkit. So now let's drop in. So now we have this div right here. Let's drop this in to something with a sidebar and see if it needs anything. So here's the sidebar item 1. Here's the about right here. So this is, instead of this right here, we'll drop in this SVG, and then let's see how that looks. What page is that? Blog slider. Not the worst. So we just need to adjust the size for the sidebar. It's still doing what we told it to do though. So now, so this is a good strategy. So now what we want is, I think we could just go right here and we could just say, so we are inside the, oh my gosh. So we are inside the sidebar layout. So we can do sidebar layout dot signature. So it's still an SVG. Oh, and actually, this is wrong. There we go. So we're an SVG inside the signature container, but for the sidebar layout, we just want to adjust the width. So we'll say width 100 pixels, but all of these other styles still apply. Did that work? I think it did. Signature SVG, hang on. Side, right here. Yes, that worked right there. Does that look proportional? Go Elmo Go says, I don't know why, but toolkits made me remember that I have a tuna sub in my fridge. Thank you. I was so hungry. Well, you're welcome. I'm here to help. I'm here to help. Enjoy. Enjoy. If you're eating, that must mean that you're feeling better. So I'm glad. I hope you're feeling better. So I think this looks pretty good. I like this little signature. So we've got this now in our sidebar, and we've got this on our, oh, what happened? Where'd you go? Let's see here. Oh, it went back down to 20. So we just need a little more specificity here. So this is getting so we are not specific enough. It's still picking up the blog layout. So I think we can just do I guess we can just do this. Yeah, that didn't, oh, whoops, I think we're on the wrong one. But it's not picking up, yeah, it's not picking up the other styles. That's okay. So there's that, and there's that. Starting to get better, not as bad as it was. Watching your QA process is pretty relaxing and is giving me good ideas of how to properly do it. Good. This day, so far, I'm not doing exactly what I thought I was going to be doing today, but I will say this. I'm glad that as I was working yesterday, I was making that list. I think that in general is a good approach when you see things, because it's so easy to go down rabbit holes while you're building. And sometimes it's a smart approach to remain focused and to keep doing what you're doing. But if you notice things, obviously you need to get that stuff written down and address it. So let's put this SVG in all of our sidebars. So we've got a sidebar on the home page. Blog slider is done, and then we've got an actual blog page. So we just need to add it to 2 sidebars. Let's see here. This is it right here. Blog slider, about, I think we just need to add it to the home page sidebar. This is our hero. So right here. And then this right here. So there's our signature on the home page. There's our signature on the slider page, the blog page, and the about page. Excellent. Okay, this is done. Next, we're getting close. We need clamp values for the secondary heading font size. All right. So the secondary heading font size, what page were we looking at yesterday when I said that we needed that? Well, we're doing pages, so maybe this page right here. So let's look at this on mobile. Yeah, actually. So do we have like a global secondary? Let's look at let's check main, or is it toolkit? No. So let's look for secondary heading. Did I spell it wrong? Underscore. Okay, so we've got secondary heading defined in several places. Font size 1.1, that's for the related posts. The hero, this is, okay. This is the image only for the blog on main. Font size 1.5. 1.25 for mobile. Here's the blog layout, font size 2. I have a feeling this was it right here. Blog layout secondary heading on line 185. Oh, and this is the secondary heading inside the image only part of the blog layout. Okay. And then we've got, so I did it here. I did clamp here for the masonry with a maximum of 1.25 rem, a minimum of 1.1, and a middle or a flexible value of 3 VW. VW standing for viewport width. And then this is the font size that I used for that featured image. This is for the mobile navigation, which isn't even, I didn't even define a size. And then this was just a hide. Okay. I must have been looking at something specific, and I'm guessing it was this, because I wrote that yesterday, and these are the pages that I built yesterday. And there's a lot of space here too. What is going on? Oh, there's a border there. Okay. So I'm going to do a clamp size for the blog layout secondary heading, which is all coming from main. This one right here. I think a lot of styles. So I'm going to do what I did. I'm going to copy this. And this is a big jump from 2 rems to 1.25. So I'm not sure. It looks looks a little small for mobile, doesn't it? Oh yeah, it's way too small. That's fine. Let's adjust it. So you can see down here, in the corner. We can watch this change now. So now it switched to 4 VW. And then it gets down to about 500 and it switches to 1.25 rems. I think it could be bigger. Well, the old size was 2. So maybe I should leave it. This might require a little more testing, especially on mobile. Ooh, that's way too small though. There's a lot of space up here. Yeah, oh yeah, there's a lot of space here. So the page image heading, page 17. So I changed the aspect ratio. I didn't remove any of the margin. All right, I'm going to remove this margin on mobile. That looks better. And so here's blog layout secondary heading. We've got 0.67 M's on the top and bottom. So main 187. See, I'm using where's this extra? This right here. So maybe we don't there. Maybe we don't need that padding there. I think I changed this in another spot too, but I did it specific. Okay, I think we're getting pretty close to a point where we need to commit these changes and actually take a top to bottom approach now because we're kind of jumping around. We're kind of jumping around. That's okay. We've done a lot today. We've done a lot, but we are I'm going to change this one last thing for Toolkit for mobile. Right here. Didn't I just do this today? No, 3 months ago. Okay. I know I did this in another spot though. Where else did I do this today? So if we in masonry main wrap right here, I did change it. So wait, did I? Was this for today? No. Well, so I'm changing it to 0 here at a breakpoint of 1024, and I'm changing it to 0 here at a breakpoint of 960. Well, we can have separate breakpoints. That's fine. But I'm going to say that now we need to commit our changes and actually start to look at each page top to bottom, because we've done a lot. And it's not, I don't think it's a good idea. We're at the point now where we're kind of like jumping around, and yeah, we just need to commit and go back. So I'm going to say we did this. So I'm going to say this is done. And then these are forms. These are forms. So all of this now, this whole list that we did yesterday, these are all done. So let's commit, and then let's go in and start to one page at a time, top to bottom. And we're going to look on mobile. There are definitely some things happening on mobile. Look at that. Okay. So let's say round 1 of QA is done. And when we push to Git, we automatically deploy to Heroku. All right. Let's take a look now. Sometimes it takes a minute. Looks like we're up to date. Let's just refresh and get some fresh assets. Our tags are wrapping correctly. Our spacing looks good. Our footer looks good. We're just glancing. We're just doing a top to bottom glance. So we have our categories are fixed. Our sticky featured image is working. Here's our blog sidebar. Here's our signature. Here's our slider. So proud of the slider. So proud of it. This all looks good. This header looks good. Our kitchen sink text all looks good. Our related posts look good. Here's our blog, which is an identical layout. It just has a featured image, not a slider. Ooh, what's happening here? Well, that's interesting. Was that, did I miss that? Is that on the other pages? So this is blog. Let's go back to blog slider. No, that's okay. Let's go back to masonry. That's okay. Let's do a hard refresh. Well, what in the wide world of sports is going on here? All right, so something got mixed up here. Is this happening on our local copy? Yes. So let's do this. I don't know what's going on. We know the footer on the home page is okay. So let's just make a copy. This is one of the downfalls to a static website, that you have multiple copies of everything. And that is okay. It's just good to understand that that's what's going on. Let's see if that fixes it, or if something happened on this page. Okay, so there's something off with the styles on the blog page. We're obviously going to need to address that. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. So that's the blog. That's really the only thing with the blog page. So, and then here's our full width page. Footer's okay there. Here's our about page. Footer's okay there. And here's our contact page. Footer's okay there. Okay. What is happening to this little blog page? Let's look at so I think it has something to do with the logo. There's something else happening on this page, but I'm not sure what. Well, I know that it should be display block. this has a width. I don't. Height auto display block. There's something else happening on this page. I'm not sure what though, but if this is all we need to do to fix it, I'm fine with that. I normally make my SVGs display block because SVGs by default are display inline. And if you want to add width and height and margin or padding, they need to either be display block or display inline block. So let's go to footer 20, line 26. So there wasn't anything wrong with our markup because our pages didn't even change. They didn't get highlighted for a change at all. Footer, line 26. It's right here. So let's do display block and height auto, and then let's check our other pages and make sure those are okay. Yep, that's okay. Masonry page is okay. Slider's okay. Blog is okay. Full width is okay. About is okay. Contact is okay. All right, so let's go ahead and push this and make sure that we can see this on our staging site. Something else was happening on that page. I don't know what. I'll give that a minute to percolate. All right. All right. Let's check mobile. Oh my gosh. Here we are. Well, our logo looks better. I can tell that right away. So we're on the home page. We're just going to go top to bottom. Oh, that doesn't look right. Our social icons. All right, so let's Let's make a list. Social icons on blog layout should be centered, but they are left aligned. I think I know what that's from. I think that's from when we were working on the alignment of the tags. So here's our sidebar. I can see it, but it's not coming through. It's not coming through on the stream. There is a border around each of these containers for the sidebar. The other thing we should probably do is these titles for the latest posts in the sidebar are not linked to anything. So let's do that. Titles for sidebar, what is it? Latest posts need to be linked. And Artie and Trees is here. Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Do me a favor, my friends. We are 2.5 hours into the stream. Things are going swimmingly. We're having so much fun today. Can you do me a favor and hit the like? I would appreciate it so much. We're trying to grow the channel, get to 1,000 subscribers by September 1st, which I think is a modest, doable amount. And if you like this kind of content, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you here. All right, so here's the home page. So we found 2 things. Not too shabby. So here's our search drawer. Here's our off-canvas navigation, which is scrollable because there's just a whole bunch of stuff in there, but what do I know? Okay, so here's our masonry layout, which I love. Like, I literally adore. So I think we need some space after the date and before the next item on the masonry layout. So let's put that on the list. Need padding after date before next item on masonry layout. Okay. Not too shabby though. Page 2 looks good. Let's head to the blog slider. Look at that. She's beautiful. She's gorgeous. Our slider works. Look at our beautiful, responsive, accessible table. The colors aren't all coming through on the stream. The rows do alternate gray and white. I just can't see it here, but they're there. Here's our pre-formatted text. Looking good. Okay, things are about to get crazy right here. So some of the form styles get a little weird on iOS. So this time, date, time, local, week, these are all kind of busting out of their container. And they don't have all the form styles, like they don't have all the padding on mobile. Same with month. This actually looks better than it did. I wonder if when I looked at this, the cache just hadn't updated, but you can kind of see those dashed lines along the right side. That's because the container is kind of busting out. So I'll look into that. Then we have a checkbox. This is our color picker, which, hello, the iOS color picker is kind of cool. But why is it this weird oval? I don't know. The choose file is like a pill shape with a gray background. You can't see it, but it does work. And then we've got the hidden image and submit. And then we've got radio buttons. And we've got regular buttons. We've got a range. And then we've got a select. So what I think we need to put on the list here is we need to investigate form styles on iOS. Yeah. Okay. But the rest of this looks pretty good. There's our meta. Here's our author. Here's our related posts with the horizontal scroll. Here's our comments. Here's our leave a comment form. And then we get into our sidebar, which drops down to the bottom for mobile. So that, what was this? This is the blog slider. So the blog should look exactly the same. And Ardian says, I just want to see you doing your work. I'm done with mine. Fair enough. Fair enough. We're here for it. So here's just the normal blog. This should look pretty much the same as the blog slider because I, basically copied that page. And then full width, which should, oh, this looks a little tight, doesn't it? Okay, it looks better, but it looks a little tight. So let's add this to the list. Full width blog header still looks too tight on mobile. Oops. Everything else looks okay though. I would expect this content to look the same because I copied it. Here's where we aggressively added extra tags. Those look pretty good. Here's our author. Here's our related posts. Comments. And then here's our about page. That looks good. I like that. I like that. And there's our signature and our footer. So that looks good for mobile. And here's our contact page. I think this looks fine too. Okay. So that's like our first pass for iOS. And we need to check the social icons. We need to link our titles in the sidebar. We need a little padding after the date before the next item on the masonry layout. We need to investigate form styles on iOS. Let's put this down in the form category. Full width blog header still looks too tight on mobile. Probably we just need margin. Probably just need more margin after hero. That's what I think. So let's now, what we really need to do now is we need to look at this on Firefox. Ugh. Yeah. Let's go back home. Okay, so let's fire up Firefox. We should probably look at Safari too. It's moments like these that are a little disheartening, but we can do it. I think we can do it. All right, so far so good. Our SVG looks good. Our layout looks good. Tags look good. Our animations are working. Hover's working. Oof. I love this page. So this is such a good question. Ardian is saying, if I want to be a full stack developer, do I need to learn about QA testing? If you want to be any kind of developer, you have to learn about QA testing. That's my answer to that. I would say that you always need to know how to test your own work to make sure it holds up. Part of that is just something that's going to come with experience, because what's going to happen is you're going to build sites, they're going to get deployed, and then as those sites start to get used, in the case of front-end development, what happens is you build a site and it gets generally turned over to the content creators, the people who are actually image sourcing, and they're coming up with titles and they're writing content, right? Once they get a hold of your site, they are going to use it in a way that you never dreamed possible. And that's when the bugs start to come in. And that is just a normal part of the process. And what it taught me is just how to be extremely thorough. It also taught me that I will never be able to imagine every way that a content creator is going to screw up my work. It's just not possible. So I try to be as thorough as possible. I try to just go top to bottom. And then I just wait for the feedback to roll in because it's just so totally normal. So there are lots of ways to formally test work. There's unit testing and there's special software for testing. And I did learn a lot of that when I was in software engineering school. But as a front-end developer, you can't beat a good pair of eyeballs. That's the most important part of testing for front end is get your eyeballs out and go from top to bottom and just try to be as thorough as possible. So as you're building things, if you see things that need to be addressed, but you don't want to stop everything you're doing, just make a list. As you finish your project, go from page to page and go from top to bottom and just use your eyeballs to notice what doesn't look right and what needs to be addressed, and then put it on the list. That is the most important thing that you can do. In terms of full stack or other technologies, there's special software, there's ways of doing unit testing. Oh my gosh, when I took Python or Java, we had to learn how to do the special types of testing. I can't remember what it's called. Is it just called unit testing? I don't remember, but I remember learning how to do that. So there are formal ways and processes for testing. For front-end development, this tends to be it. Just have a checklist. And again, top to bottom, left to right. That's how you test. So I hope that helps. I hope that helps. But this is looking good. So far, so good. Let's go to our slider now. Our animations are working. Our slider is sliding. So far, so good. We need to also do an accessibility test, so I'll show you how I'm going to do that next. Just scanning the page. We're just scanning the page to see if anything looks amiss. Nothing looks too crazy. Our form styles look way better on Firefox than they do on Chrome. Why isn't our, there it is, just wasn't loading. Our columns are working, our SVG looks good. Flexbox is flexing. All right, well, let's do Safari. Heidi, stop. So far, so good. This all looks good. Safari. Nice. Masonry. Our little sticky featured image. Our blog slider. This all looks okay. Oh, right here. So Safari, It's not like, I wonder if Safari select, also iOS select. I mean, this really isn't styled at all, but you can see our SVG that we put right over top of the select there. So I might have to do a little more research on form styles. Nice explanation. As someone who has just tried this profession, I am very helped by your explanation. Oh, good. Good. I've been doing it a while. 12 years. Today's my anniversary of the day that I quit my corporate job and changed careers. It was June 2013. June 2013 that I decided I was going to do this. So, and I've had a great career. I've had a great career. And I hope to continue having a great career. So let's go to the blog. Whoa, what happened here? Something happened here. Can I refresh? Okay, is it just me or did we have problems with the footer on this exact page too? We're okay on Firefox. And we're okay on Chrome. Oh, that's not what I wanted. How do you look at DevTools in Safari? I feel like you have to turn them on. Show features for web developers. Right here. Inspect. It probably just needs, I don't know, what happened? What did we do to the blog page that made the SVGs weird? I literally don't know. Can we, it's over here. I did something. Hang on, styles. So here's our SVG. Can I just add something here? You're gonna let me? Oh, add a new class. Here we go. Height auto. All right, so this SVG needs, I'm surprised that I didn't do that though. I usually do that. So let's let's just go ahead and update it that and push it so we can see our changes. See if we can see our changes. That was where? That is in, I guess that's in the toolkit. Yeah, I really didn't do that, did I? Primary logo, logo link, SVG. So we're going to do it to the SVG too. Display block, height, auto. Well, this is our local environment, so if we refresh, we should be able to see this working. And it is. There we go. See, this is why you have to check these browsers. Little subtle things. Something even either I didn't notice the footer in the blog page because I just wasn't scrolling down far enough, or we did something today that impacted that page, which is definitely possible. So far, all of these are because the SVG just needed to be display block height auto, which makes sense to me. And I'm surprised that I normally tell my SVGs to be display block. I normally do that, and I didn't do that this time. So, but this is why you got to check. This is why you just got to just do a basic scroll through of all the different available browsers. That's all you have to do, and you're going to catch the majority of things. You really are. All right, so this is the blog. Now let's check the full width. It all looks good. Let's check about. And contact. Looks good. Okay, let's go back to Chrome. So we've done a top to bottom of each page desktop view on 3 browsers, Chrome, Firefox, Safari. And we found a couple big issues. We found a couple big issues with one in Firefox and one in Safari. So that has a lot of value, that exercise. So now what I want to do is I'm going back to Chrome, and I'm going to do a very basic accessibility test. So I refresh the page. I'm not going to click anywhere, and I'm just going to start to tab through. And we need to make sure that everything that is supposed to get a tab or gets focus gets it naturally by tabbing through. So that's a link, that's a button, and that's anything that requires action. So just looking at this page, what is that? The social icons are links. The navigation are links. The logo is linked. The search button to open and close the search drawer, that's a button. So that should by default get focus if you tab through. And then it tabs in the order of the DOM. So let's just start tabbing. So there's our social links. There's our logo. There's our search drawer. So now we should be able to hit the return key. And then we wrote JavaScript to make sure that the search automatically, the search input gets focused. So the user doesn't have to come down here and click in. And then if we continue to tab, now the button. And then if we tab again, we go up to the close button. But we've got focus here. We wrote JavaScript to trap the focus inside this drawer. I also made it so you can hit the escape key. That's what I just did. I hit the escape key. You know what I should do sometime? I should set up a webcam right over my keyboard so you could see me actually hitting those keys. Note to self, I'm going to do that. So I hit the escape key, it closed the drawer, and then it gave the button to open the drawer the next logical focus. So anytime you are closing the drawer, what's the next thing on the page that's going to get focus? In this case, it's the button for the search drawer. So the thing that you hit is the thing where the focus remains after you close the drawer. So now I'm going to keep tabbing and we're going to go through the navigation. Now I'm going to keep tabbing, and each of these header items are all linked. So you could see here, each of these things are getting focus. So now I'm going to tab through again, and the titles are starting to get focused now because these are all links. Links get focused by default. And now anything that is a link or a button is getting focus. And it moves in the order of the DOM. So this is doing exactly what I expect it to. So now you have a very good sense of what your screen reader is going to do. The screen reader is going to read out this content to your user. So now we're at the bottom of the first column. And what comes after the first main content column? It's the sidebar. So now we're going to go back up to the sidebar because that's how the DOM is organized. So the next thing in the sidebar to get focus is the input for the newsletter. There isn't anything in that about box that's linked or has a button. There's our button. So here's how, this is why we need to, I overlooked linking these titles for the blog post. So I have that on the list. We're going to go ahead and do that. So it's skipping that for now. So now we can toggle through, tab through our social icons. Next, we land on this. This is a linked handle to Instagram. This select category, this is a button. So if I hit enter to open it, now we go down to the footer. And then we start over, and it starts over in the browser. But we should be able to just keep going. Now we're back at the top of the page. So this all works exactly how I would expect it to. So great. So now let's do this. Let's just make it narrow, just like this. And I'm going to collapse these. But we're going to go there and test next. Okay. So now, I'll move this over here. So now this is what this would presumably look like on mobile, right? Well, let's do this. So if you were a mobile user and you came in with a screen reader, I'm going to tab once, and the first thing that gets focused is the logo. The next thing that gets focus is again, the search drawer. And we're still focus trapping here, even on mobile. Close that. Then we come over to the navigation, hit return. Now we can tab through our navigation, and again, we have trapped the focus inside. So if I'm somewhere in the middle here of this navigation, though, I can hit escape to close it. And it returns to the next logical place, which is the menu. So now I'm going to continue to tab through, and each of my header items are getting focus. And now we're tabbing through just as we did on desktop. And here's where you're really going to be able to see, because now this is for mobile, this is organized exactly how the DOM is organized, right? We've taken that layout and we've dropped the sidebar down below the content. That's exactly how the DOM is organized. And that's a very standard layout for mobile. Look at that. It works exactly how it should. Beautiful. So our header and footer work exactly how we expect them to. And that's really important, especially the header and the navigation. It's really important that your users can tab through, and the things that should get focused do get focused, and that they get focused in a logical order. If you're opening and closing drawers, are you trapping the focus inside that drawer? It's actually not an accessibility requirement to trap the focus inside the drawer, but it is an accessibility best practice to make sure that the user can hit the escape key to escape out of that drawer. But if you do that, make sure that your focus goes back to a logical place in the DOM. That's the thing that you need to keep in mind. So let's just go through our masonry now. And we have to keep in mind that masonry is organized in columns, not rows. So you're always going to be going like this from top to bottom, top to bottom. And this works exactly how I expect it to. Now, blog slider. If you were here with me last weekend, you know that this is very nicely responsive. So here I have focus on the title. Next, my focus is on the entire container for the slider. And when we wrote JavaScript specifically to make sure that the entire container, which by default naturally does not receive focus, we made it receive focus. So if you're coming through with a screen reader, you don't have to wait to get to the before or after arrows. As soon as you have focus on the container, you can use your arrow keys left and right to go back and forth in the slider. If we hit tab again, now our focus is going on those buttons. And you can either use the enter key. So right now I'm using return, return, return to activate next. If I do shift tab and go back, return, return, return to go previous. But I can also use my right and left arrow keys. So even when one button has focus, I can still use my right and left arrow keys to go back and forth in the slider. So that's pretty cool. Our pre-formatted text is also getting focus. And then all of our form inputs are getting focus. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. Beautiful. Everything is getting focus in the order that I would expect it to. Let's check full width. Anything that's a link, anything that's a button, anything that is a form element. Here's our about page. I don't think really anything other than the header and footer is going to get focus here. Yep, because there aren't any links or buttons or form elements or anything designed for user interaction on the page. It's purely informational. And then here's our contact form. Our form elements get focus. Our submit button gets focus, and then it skips right into the footer. So that's great. That does exactly what I would expect it to. Okay, so now let's hope and pray that it works the same on Firefox and Safari. Hope and pray. Okay, so here we are on Firefox. And if you hold down the Shift key and Tab, you should be able to shift backwards. This is important because a lot of people use screen readers, and quite frankly, a lot of people just use the keyboard to navigate pages. So let's just make this a little smaller now. So we're still on Firefox. We have our focus trapping. We can escape, and then the focus goes back up to the button. Now we go through our hero, and then we go into our content. Oh, you know what though? We probably don't want, I did notice this and I was like, why does that look weird? We don't want the hover for these links to be blue. We want that to be white because that is definitely not accessible. So footer links should be white on hover. So let's check masonry. All right. Let's check our blog and our slider. So now the slider container has focus, and we can use our left and right arrows, but also once our buttons have focus, we can still use our left and right arrows. But we can also use the enter key to go back and forth. And then we can tab through our content. Yeah, it works exactly how I would expect it to. Let's check Safari. Okay. Wait a second here. All right, so these links on Safari, oh, that's interesting. Our links are not getting focus on Safari. Only the buttons are, and the inputs. That's interesting. Let's ask our friend, ChatGPT. Okay, I'm trying to test accessibility on desktop Safari. The links don't get focus, only the buttons and form elements. That's a classic Safari behavior, and it trips up a lot of developers during accessibility testing. What's happening? By default, Safari on macOS only allows keyboard focus on form controls, inputs, buttons, and text areas, not links or anchor elements or other interactive elements. This is due to a system-wide Mac OS setting, not a Safari-specific bug. How to fix it? To enable proper keyboard navigation, including focusing link, go to the Mac system settings, navigate to, all right, well, let's do it right now. Navigate to keyboard. Keyboard shortcuts. Modifier keys. Wait, what? Modifier keys. Scroll down to keyboard navigation. Use keyboard navigation to focus between controls. Systems, hang on, did I go to the wrong place here? System settings, keyboard. Use keyboard navigation to move focus between controls. Press the tab key to move focus forward and shift tab to move focus backward. Keyboard shortcuts. Modifier keys. I feel like that's what this was right here. Use keyboard navigation to move focus between controls. Or, okay, in Safari, preferences, advanced. Maybe that's what we need. In Safari. Preferences, advanced, and then check press tab to highlight each item on a web page. Advanced. Press tab to hide. So this is a Safari. Press tab to highlight each item on a web page. Okay. Well, let's give it a whirl. Now what happens? Good. Beautiful. Wait a second, what just happened here? Okay, so I still have focus trapping. I hit escape. It goes back up here. Okay. All right. Yeah, that works. So what did we just learn? We just learned that on Safari, it is either a Mac or a Safari setting to make sure that links also get focus, because by default they don't. Had not, clearly I've never tested accessibility in Safari. I've only done it in Chrome and Firefox. Otherwise, things appear to be working as normal. And you know, this is just one aspect of accessibility testing. This is not exhaustive. Still need to make sure that you understand your form elements, your labels. But this is still an important exercise. Wow, we're almost 3.5 hours in today. I knew this was going to be a long one. I knew this was going to take a long time. Thank you so much to everybody who comes to hang out with me, ask questions. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed, we would love to have you. Also, give the video a like if you're enjoying this content. We are very front-end focused here. It is all about the core foundational basics HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Nothing wrong with frameworks, nothing wrong with libraries. It's all about just getting back to basics though. So if you like that content, we would love to have you. All right. So I would call that a cursory, a good beginning step for accessibility testing. The other thing, and I talk about it a lot, the Web Aim Million. The Web Aim Million. If you're new to accessibility and you want to start to get comfortable with it, I highly, highly, highly recommend, I'm going to put it in the chat, highly recommend checking out the Web Aim Million. Highly recommend checking out the Web Aim Million. This is a project that I think this is the 7th year in a row now. They scan the top 1,000 the top 1 million websites, and they list the top 6 accessibility mistakes, and it's pretty much the same every single year. So this would give you a really basic idea of where to start with accessibility and making sure that your pages are accessible. Low contrast text, missing alt text for images, missing form input labels, empty links, empty buttons. So say you're using SVGs. Missing document language. That's just basically where you say, let's see here. That's this. HTML, language, English. Or is it this one? I think it's the doc type. Missing document language. I think that's the doc type. It's one of these two right up here. So it's a great place to start if you're new to accessibility. And you would be avoiding the top 6 mistakes that the top 1 million websites all have in common. So seems like an easy place to start for me. But tabbing through is also a great exercise. So, all right, where are we at here? We've done a lot today. We still have, this is like round 2. I would say that this was round 1. I think that I'm gonna call it a day. We're 3.5 hours in. We do still have a little bit more to do. I think these form styles are going to require a little bit of investigation on iOS and Safari. iOS in particular, there's some weirdness going on there. So I think I want to do 2 things next weekend. Well, so first I'm going to tell you what my plan is for. I'm going to tell you what my plan is here. Here we go. My plan for the month of June is that we are going to I need to finish my personal website. I started rebuilding my personal website at the end of the year, like the end of December. Let me go back here. This is what it looks like. It is really turning out well. It's not quite done yet. We have to, this page is not done yet. There's stuff to do. Contact me page is done. Very happy with this page. My header and footer are done. I love this footer. Love the footer. This is my articles page with of course, a nice masonry layout. I also have a nice little vanilla JavaScript filter here. And then I also have a project page. And these are all of the projects that I've worked on the YouTube channel. And then this link that says practice layouts, this is actually going to be changed to YouTube, and this will be a link that takes people directly to the YouTube channel. So this site is very nearly done. We need to finish this home page. We need to finish the About Me page. And then we need to get the content, start filling in content and images on these project pages. Update the navigation. This doesn't really go anywhere. This is our mobile view for this. And then we've got a nice little mobile navigation here. So this site is like 3/4 done. So we're going to get this site done. We're going to start filling in content, and we're going to get this deployed on or before July 1st. That is when this needs to be done. And I haven't worked on this in 2 months. I haven't worked on this since the beginning of April, and I'm really having a hard time carving out the time to sit down and work with this. So next weekend, we're going to continue. We are on the tail end of QA for the ocean. I mean, we are nailing it this weekend. We got the last 3 layouts done. We did a ton of QA. We've checked accessibility. We've checked iOS. We've checked different browsers. We've solved some big problems. We are on the tail end of QA. So we're going to finish QA on Saturday next weekend for this site. And then depending on how that goes Saturday, either the later part of the stream Saturday or on Sunday, we are going to do a strategy session for the work that needs to be done on my site. And we are going to do, I have a project board set up here. This is the wrong link. Here's the portfolio. And here is a project board. I have a project board set up for this. So we are going to we're going to go through the project board. We're going to check some things off, and we're going to start to make a rough list of things that need to get it done. We're also going to make sure that we're like noticing QA elements, right? If things pop out at us where we're like, oh yeah, that needs attention later, we're going to get it into the board. So if you're wondering, like, how do I manage tasks? What's a good way to manage my tasks? What's a good workflow? How do you organize a backlog? How do you move things into this ready for development category? What's work in progress? What's review? What's ready to deploy? So we're gonna, I should be doing this more often, but honestly, it's okay to do. Where are we here? Where's our VS Code? It's okay to do this too. It's okay to just get out, open up a new tab, or grab a sheet of paper and a pencil and just make a list. That's okay too. But I do want to go back and work on my project board for my site. So that's what we're going to work on next weekend. We're going to finish our QA, and we're going to start doing a strategy session for my site. And come hell or high water, we're going to get this done on or before July 1st. We're so close. We're so close. And I just really want to get this thing done and deployed. And because I need my website. I need my website. It's just such an important marketing tool for what I'm trying to do with this channel and how I'm trying to grow this little content creator endeavor. I need this. So, good stream, good progress. Like the stream and subscribe if you are liking the content. Thank you. Go, Elmo, go. Yes, we don't have very many people left here, but if there's anybody here left that hasn't liked the content, hasn't liked the stream, hasn't subscribed to the channel, we would love to have you. All right. Thank you to everybody who joined me today, who hung out with me, who asked me questions. Even if you were just here to, I don't know, lurk. Is that a good word? To just chill. I loved having you. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day wherever you are. Have a great week. I will see you next weekend, and we're so close. We're so close. We're so close. Take care. Bye bye.